Hello everybody, today I'm doing a video on the 12 dumbest home design features I've ever encountered here in the state of Arizona, and you're going to want to stay tuned to the end because number 12 is something that I have never encountered before except for one time in my life, and I'm sure you've never come across that either. I'd also like to apologize before I begin because I am in my alternate studio today and I don't have a room where I can lock myself away from the dogs, and during the filming of this video the dogs have wanted to make all sorts of noise to let themselves be heard, like play tug-of-war at their loudest growling voice, or jumping into my lap, or shaking their heads so their tags jingle, or even my small dog at one point getting next to the tripod and doing her little shake, and the bird who only knows one word, which is snack, maybe saying snack during the video, although usually she is quiet when I am trying to talk. So I hope you enjoyed the video despite the background noise of the pet dogs here, and stay tuned to the 12 dumbest home design features I've ever seen in the state of Arizona. The channel is Living in Northern Arizona, where I'll teach you everything there is to know about living in the northern half of the state of Arizona. My name's Dawn Dickinson. I sell real estate up here, Sedona, Flagstaff, Prescott, Verde Valley. If you ever have a real estate question or you want help buying or selling a house up here, my contact information is always in the description below, so give me a call, text, email, and I will give you a call back. Okay, the very first dumb thing I see in the state of Arizona regarding home design is what they call the Arizona room, the sun room, the Florida room. It's where you've taken a nice functioning covered patio outside and enclosed it and made it into a room. Now, I see this a lot of times in Sedona and even in Flagstaff. It's really not so bad here in northern Arizona, but when you see it in Phoenix, what it's like doing is just attaching an oven to the back side of your house and taking some very nice outdoor living space and making it basically unusable and during the entire summer months. Now, I did fall prey to this once. I enclosed a beautiful back patio in a home I had in Ahwatukee. Cost me $20,000, and in about 10 years afterwards I ended up ripping the whole thing out. The second dumb design feature I see frequently here in Arizona is the wood burning fireplace. Now, again, in northern Arizona it's not so bad because you get to use it a little bit more because it's colder, but really the things are not designed to put off a lot of heat. And if you are in Phoenix, say, you probably can only use it 1 to maybe 3 days a year, and usually those are the no burn days, so you can't really use it anyhow. It does not put out a lot of heat, it takes up a lot of wall space. And the other thing is, whenever you sell your house, it probably doesn't happen in Phoenix because nobody actually uses a fireplace, but here in northern Arizona, you know, Sedona, Flagstaff, the home inspector will look at it and he will inevitably say, don't use the fireplace unless or until you have it inspected by a chimney sweep, and so you'll end up never using it because you'll be afraid to burn something like the one I have in Sedona. A beautiful fireplace, but I never use it because, again, when I bought the place, the home inspector said don't use it without having a chimney sweep verify that it's safe to use, and so then you're of course scared to use it. Now, if you could put in one of those gas inserts or electric inserts, then it is much better because you can use it and not worry that you're going to burn the place down or make the place all smelly. But the fireplace in Arizona, really not a good design feature. Okay, number 3 dumb home design would be skylights. Now, actually, I do love skylights. They bring in a lot of light, but the problem is if they break, if they crack, they're really hard to fix, hard to get somebody out there to fix it. In my own home in Sedona, what happened is the previous owner did this. They convert the skylight to a sky tube, and that is really nice because you just have a small little tube. It lets in the sunshine, doesn't seem to break ever, and if you can get one of those skylights converted to a sky tube, that's a great design. But the skylight itself, and not because it's not functional or cool or pretty, it's because when it breaks, it's a big pain in the neck. I also have one in my Chandler condo. Unfortunately, that does not have a crack, and when it's funny because when it rains, you're like, what is that loud noise? And it's the water pounding on the skylight. And you know, again, like I say, it's nice to have, but the problem is when it breaks, it's kind of a pain to get repaired. Okay, the number 4 home design feature that I think is really done is wall-to-wall carpet. Now, fortunately, unfortunately, you're not seeing that very much anymore, because that was a very big trend in the 70s and actually probably more the 1980s and into the 1990s. Wall-to-wall carpet, because, you know, soft, luxurious carpet under your feet is nice. I think the real reason behind that is it's cheap to put in wall-to-wall carpet. Tile or wood is more expensive to have in your kitchen or your bathroom. And now you got kitchen carpet, you've got carpet in the kitchen, you got carpet in the bathroom, you're cooking bacon and it, you know, grease gets on the carpet and you got to stain forever. Worse though in the bathroom. I remember once cleaning the toilet with my bleach cleaning and some bleach spilled out. Now I got bleach mark on the carpet. But the worst part in the bathroom, of course, is you step out of the shower and it gets wet. Now you got mold possibility happening, you know, wet, damp carpet, especially at Mormon Lake, you know, where it's cold all winter time. So wall-to-wall carpet, the newer houses don't have them, and the houses that were designed in the 80s and 90s where they put them, I've mostly had them replaced. So bad home design number 5 is the sunken living room. And I take back what I said about wall-to-wall carpet being the worst design. The sunken living room probably takes the grand prize of all the dumb home designs I've ever seen in Arizona. It was very common in the late 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s, and I don't even understand the point of it. You have to take 2 or 3 steps down to get into your living room. It took extra effort for the home designers and home builders to make it that way, and it is a massive trip hazard. And heck, if you invite your parents or your grandparents over, there's a good chance they're gonna fall and break their hip, and it's gonna be your fault. So sunken living room, very dumb. I had several houses with this feature. The last one I remember having, my ex-husband ended up filling the thing in before we put it up for sale on the market because they were so negative, so bad. The trip hazard, of course, being the big part of it. So sunken living room, feature number 5 of bad home designs here in the state of Arizona. Okay, number 6 is a kitchen design I would see. Again, this was in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. It was a common kitchen feature in the upscale homes, and that would be, rather than have a traditional range oven, they would have a cooktop and a kitchen island, and then they would have a wall stove. So the problem here, of course, is the wall stove is always too small, and sometimes there would be a double oven wall stove, but there was a double tiny oven. So for you to get a Thanksgiving turkey in one of these wall ovens was almost impossible. For you to get one of those super large sized cookie sheets, impossible. So ditch the wall oven and the cooktop range. Just get a giant traditional open stove range and put that in your kitchen. The wall oven, cooktop, just a bad kitchen design idea, and I would see that a lot in Arizona, and I would never design my own kitchen that way. Okay, number 7 is the gigantic oversized sliding glass door. Again, I had one of these when I lived in Phoenix. It was a big, beautiful, custom design, but it was a royal pain. First of all, if you ever have a problem with one of the glass doors, you have to pay extra, you know, a huge amount extra to get that replaced. You can't just say, oh, I don't like a glass door, I want to replace it with a French door, because they're on a non-standard size. And then the other thing is, if you don't like it and you want to make it smaller, it's pain to do that. You can't fit one of the glass door dog door inserts in it. For instance, you have to take a plywood piece and customize, put it at the top. It looks extremely hokey. And the one we had in Phoenix, we decided let's cut it, you know, get it down to standard. We got a quote from a contractor, $5,000 to get that thing down to a normal size. So we decided not to do that. So the oversized glass door, although they're supposed to be very luxurious, they're really a pain in the neck. Okay, bad home design number 8 is railroad ties in the landscaping. Again, this is another one of the gems we got from the 1970s and 1980s. My dad, I know, put them in one of the homes that we built in the 70s. First of all, they look hideous, they look cheap. The same custom home that I've been telling you about that I had in Phoenix, Nawatuki, had these also in the very backyard when we first bought the house. Looked super hokey. So the first thing we did when we moved into that house was rip out all the railroad ties and replace them with a normal brick border. But what happened is, upon replacing the ties, they were infested with scorpions. Scorpions anyhow, everywhere. Giant nest full of scorpions. Scorpions with these 15,000 little eggs on their backs. It was disgusting, and no wonder when we first moved into the house we had the scorpion infestation, because it turned out that many of them nest in these hideous looking railroad ties. So thankfully there are not a lot of those homes left with the railroad ties as part of landscaping, but if you're going to find an old 1970s build, say, that hasn't been touched, you might find one of those railroad ties and get those things out as soon as you move in. So home design disaster number 9 is wallpaper and wood paneling. Another gem that we got from the 1970s. The problem with these, of course, is that they look dated pretty quick, maybe about 5 years after they were installed. And if you just have regular walls and you painted it that slate gray that was really popular a couple of years ago, well, it's super easy to update. Just buy a couple of cans of paint, maybe cost you a couple of $100, but when you got the paneling, you got to rip all that paneling out, and hopefully you won't damage the sheetrock as you do it. And the same thing with the wallpaper. You got to remove the wallpaper. Massive pain, massive undertaking. At least with the paneling, you could paint it a light color. You know, it doesn't look great, but it certainly looks better than that dark wood. For the wood paneling, I would, as soon as buying a house with those, I would paint it or do something to get rid of the wood paneling. Just go with the basic walls that you just paint in a few years when the color scheme is out of style. I certainly wouldn't let that dissuade you from making a home purchase, but just from my repertoire of bad design, that certainly makes the list. Number 10 is the second story patio. Again, the Arizona room on the bottom, and then you have a patio and you put a second story balcony on it. So that actually isn't so bad if you're in a place on acreage, or if you look out you have a nice view. But the place I had, you had a tiny little lot, and so you've got a second story balcony and you're just looking into your neighbor's pool or your neighbor's backyard. And so you just never use it, except when you have little kids. They love to use it. They love to go out there, and when your neighbor's in the pool, they're like looking through the fence at them. I'm sure that's a great hit, making relationships that are good with your neighbors, and you got little kids 3 and 5 years old looking out at them on the second story balcony. But that is just a dumb idea. I also see them when I go into Phoenix. You'll have a nice house that is facing the highway, and there's a patio up there. So like, who is gonna sit on a second story balcony and look out the freeway? Dumb idea, unless you've got a beautiful home out in the country. But you do see those a lot in Phoenix, and not as much here in northern Arizona. So second story balcony, not a very good design. Okay, number 11 is something that was a very short fad. You probably will never encounter one of these, but I do remember seeing them in the 1990s. They were popular, and what they called them was a conversation pit. Sounds weird, because it was weird. What you would do is you have a nice big living room, and they would pour into the concrete what looked like the shape of a jacuzzi, where you've got like a big 10-foot round circle, say, and then you've got a little seat there, and it's all carpeted, you know. So the idea is you go down with your glass of wine with a couple of friends, and you have a conversation in this conversation pit, you know. So I don't know what happened over the years. I did have a friend that had one of these. It was weird. Who's gonna ever sit down there? Maybe if you're drunk, it sounds okay, but a conversation pit, I'm sure that was a big pain in the neck to rectify a few years later when they found out it was dumb. I don't know if you poured concrete to fill it in or if you put wood in it, but having a jacuzzi sunken in the middle of your living room surrounded by carpet, that's probably one of the dumbest designs I've ever seen. Popular in the 1990s, but I have not seen them again since. Okay, so here we are, number 12. The dumbest home design I have ever seen in the state of Arizona happened right up in Munns Park. And say you want to have an extra bathroom, but you want a deal to adding on to the house. I actually showed a house, and we went outside, and there's one of those storage sheds. It was a tough shed, one of those plastic tough sheds. You open it up, and there's a toilet inside. Yes, a toilet inside of an outside tough shed. No sink, just a random toilet in your shed outside. Hey, you know, someone's using the bathroom, just go on out and pee in the shed. I've never seen anything like that. Just the one time, toilet in the tough shed. So you got a tough shed converted into a bathroom. I'm sure that wasn't up to code. I don't know what you would do if you wanted to buy something like that, but the toilet in the shed outside, can you imagine, in the snow? Oh, let me just go out in the bathroom. I wonder if that thing breaks, you know? Weirdest thing. So that's it. That's the top 12 dumbest home design features I've ever seen in the state of Arizona. My name's Dawn Dickinson, the channel living in northern Arizona. I sell real estate, so if you ever have a real estate question, you just want to talk about real estate, or you want me to help you buy or sell a home, my contact information is below. Or you could also go to the website, schedule a Zoom call. I will get back to you. I love talking to people from YouTube. So if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. Maybe consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. I post videos like this every single week, so I hope to catch you back here again next week.